And we brought up former President Trump. He obviously has been making headline after headline with his legal troubles over the past week. So let's dive into that. And Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis, she's also been embroiled in controversy over the past few weeks. She faces allegations that she had an affair with a prosecutor assigned to Trump's Georgia election interference case. And then this morning on Friday, Jim Jordan, chairman of the House Judiciary Committee, actually subpoenaed her over accusations that her office misused federal funds. What do we need to know here in this whole mess?
There's that quote from Omar in The Wire that if you come for the king, you best not miss. This is kind of, if you come for Trump, you best not have a mess behind you. And it was no doubt that Republicans were going to start looking into her as soon as she decided to prosecute Trump. She admitted just moments ago that she had an affair with the special prosecutor. Don't hire people you're having affairs with. That should be pretty simple, but obviously it's an issue you see get broken all the time. That's absolutely an own goal on her part. She did say there were no conflicts, everything was on the up and up there, but it's still the perception that you just hired somebody. You're a prosecutor, you're supposed to be enforcing the law, and here you are hiring a guy you're having an affair with. It's not a good look. Whether it impacted any decisions she made, said she argues no, who knows. The subpoena thing, I don't know enough of what they have, what the Republicans claim to have here. She's again has said there's no big deal here, but it was clear that if you prosecute Donald Trump, you are going to face all sorts of investigations from Republicans, and this would be one of them.
I do now want to talk about the optics because, as you said, she's saying nothing affected the decision, but what are the optics looking like? Does this look like a W for Trump?
It's tough to say whether it's a W. Who knows how this is going to play out in the end? Trump was criticizing her anyways. She could be, St. Peter prosecuting him, and Trump would have found things to criticize. There's just he's got to, and that's a part of his playbook. Whenever people come after him, he immediately flips it around and makes accusations about the accuser. And this is exactly what was going to happen here, only, this time she did give them something legitimate to use.
And if she did recuse herself, there is a possibility that the trial for the election interference case could be moved to after the 2024 election in November. What would that do for Trump?
It would push off one possible problem there. It seems like the only way that these cases are really going to impact him would be if they do move forward before the election in terms of voting. I think right now, assuming Trump doesn't get found guilty of anything, all things stay the same moving forward. It's a 50-50 election. Although there was some recent polling that came out that said Republicans in swing states would be less likely to vote for him, or to vote for a candidate who was found guilty or indicted. So we'll see what happens here. But I think it just kind of pushes a headache off for him if this does get booted till after the election.
I do want to rewind it back to the 2022 midterms. It seemed like Trump's political journey was pretty much toast after what was supposed to be a red wave was then a red trickle. As we know, DeSantis was touted as the future of the party. That didn't shake out the way DeSantis wanted it over the past year and a half. So what really seemed to embolden the base were Trump's legal issues. In 5 months in 2023, he was indicted 4 times. Do you think these mounting legal issues are good for Trump's election? Bad? What does that look like?
I haven't looked this up myself, but there was campaign filing reports were due in earlier this week, and I saw it reported elsewhere that Trump enjoyed an uptick in donations after every indictment. So, that certainly helps, especially when you're also using some of that money to pay your legal bills. So there's definitely a benefit there in terms of firing up the base. It sounds like the issue might be more with moderates, and I think there was some polling also that came out showing Biden had a large advantage with women, and it could be hurting him in that area as well. But it's certainly, the indictments are certainly good for firing up the base. He's been fundraising off of it. He was selling NFTs that had a physical version that included a piece of the suit that he wore when he was indicted in Georgia. So, he's certainly going all out trying to make some money off of it, and it looks like doing so successfully.
Let's now move on to Alan Weisselberg. He is the ex CFO of the Trump Organization, and he is reportedly negotiating a plea deal with Manhattan prosecutors. He's apparently planning to plead guilty to perjury in Trump's civil fraud trial. What did he allegedly lie under oath about?
We don't know exactly what this potential plea deal is referring to. The New York Times broke this story yesterday. But what we do know is that Weisselberg on the stand during this trial said that he was not really involved in the valuations of Trump's penthouse apartment, which was a big part of the trial because those were figures he used for his net wealth. We came out the next day, my editor, Dan Alexander, with an article saying that wasn't the case. Weisselberg was very involved with it. And we have all sorts of emails and recordings that prove that from when several of our reporters toured Trump Tower back in the day, or Trump's penthouse back in the day. Weisselberg was on the stand the next morning and he was immediately pulled. So it certainly seems likely that that could be the issue, but we don't know for sure exactly what it is.
What exactly does this mean for Weisselberg then? A guilty plea, this is his second one.
Yeah, it's not a good look. Maybe the first one you could have said, oops, that's a fluke. But the second time was especially egregious, assuming he did correctly, assuming it is about this instance, and he correctly remembered what he said and chose not to be forthright on the stand. The Times is reporting it doesn't look like jail time for him, and nor did it look like that he was going to be compelled to testify against Trump in any way. The speculation was that it would maybe serve as a deterrent for any other witnesses on behalf of former President Trump, who might want to, lie on the stand on his behalf. That doing so could get you in trouble.
I guess the bigger question here then, what about Donald Trump? What are the implications of this for the former president?
It's not quite clear. I don't think Weisselberg was exactly considered a reliable witness by the judge in the first case. The first time he was up there, he had already gone to jail for him. This is a case that largely revolves around documents and financial statements versus the testimony of people out there. So I don't think it really makes much of a difference one way or the other.